For the most part, I would recommend allowing your chosen style and theme to handle most of the formatting of your text. If you need to manually format your text, we will go over how to do that now. Let's just start with some random text in a new document. The formatting for our text can be found under the font section under the Home tab. Formatting for our text can be found in the font section under the Home tab. Changes will be applied to the text that is selected. If your cursor is in the middle of a word, it will apply it to that word. Cursor is right before or after a word. Apply it to the cursor and any new text typed there. If you highlight text, it will apply it to all the highlighted text. The easiest way to demonstrate that is probably to use the font size. So I've placed my cursor in the middle of the first word. If I go to the font size drop-down and increase that, it only increases the size of that word. If I put my cursor here after this word, and again change the font size, none of the existing text was changed, but if I start typing, the new text will get the new size. We highlight a portion of text. We'll modify only the text that was selected. That might include parts of words, so you can see the word was split, as is seen here where only the second half of this word was changed. Let's highlight this whole paragraph, and I'm going to make that text bigger so that the remainder will be more visible. If we select something, we can click the drop down for the font and pick a different font. First two fonts are the fonts used by the theme throughout the document. To demonstrate that, let's go to the Design tab, pick a different font, and we can see that the one we manually changed stayed with the font that we chose. The rest changed to the font that we assigned to our theme. Just going to undo that and go back to our Home tab again. The first basic font style is bold. So if we select a word and click on this bolded B, it makes that word bold. The next is italics. We can click on the I. We can apply both to the same word. You can do that by either clicking on the B or the I, or if you press Control I or Control B, it does the same thing. We can apply a strike through, which puts a line through the middle of our text. And there's a button for that as well. The next two styles are superscript and subscript. Subscript and superscript are both smaller text. Subscript is put lower than our typical text, and superscript is put higher. There's a button for that here as well. If we click that at the end of a word and start typing, we get a subscript. Similarly, we can do the same thing for a superscript. These also have hotkeys. For subscript, it's Control equals. For a superscript, it's Control Shift plus. Note that equals and plus are the same key. So in reality, if you said Control plus, you would have to press the Shift key to get the plus. I'm going to select a few sentences. Demonstrate the next part. This button here allows us to change the case of our selected text. The first one you should be using almost all the time. We can also tell it to go to lowercase, which removes any caps. We can go to uppercase, which makes everything capitalized. We can tell it to capitalize each word. We can toggle case, which means it just swaps any lowercase and uppercase. And then again, we can use this to go back to sentence case, which just puts the first, which makes the first letter of the first word of each sentence a capital. We can underline our text by clicking this U here. There is also a hotkey for underline, Control U. We click the drop down next to the U. We have some different options for different line styles for underneath of our text. We can also pick a different color for our underline. There's a button here for a bunch of text effects. There's a bunch of predefined text here that you can pick. But you can also give the text an outline of a chosen color. You can give it a shadow. You can also give it a reflection. You can make it glow. The remainder of the effects we'll discuss in a more advanced topic. We want to highlight some text. We can click on this highlight button, choose a color, and then drag over what we want to be highlighted. And then click again to stop. Alternatively, we can select some text ahead of time, click the highlight button, and it will only highlight the text that was previously selected. We can use this button to assign colors to our text. Anytime we're selecting colors, this top group of colors under theme colors, they will change if we change our colors of our theme. So let's just demonstrate that. Notice the position of the color on this palette. It is 5th from the right and 2nd from the bottom. If we go design, pick a different color theme. Notice that all of the colors up here changed as well. But let's specifically look at this one. Drop down that color. The selected color is in the same position as the brown was before. If we wanted to get rid of any of the formatting changes, and select some text, click this eraser here. That takes it back to the default according to the assigned style. We select a bit of text here. There's a few more advanced options if we click this little down arrow next to the font. We can see our selected text down here, and we can see how it's going to change as we change any options in here. Most of the options here are the same as we have on the toolbar outside of this. So our font, again, note the first two are according to the theme that's selected. We have our font style. Again, we have italics, bold, and both bold and italics. Our size, our color, same as before. We can apply an underline style. Through here we have one more style available, namely words only, which gives it a plain underline but breaks between each word. Or we can pick the Same line types like we had outside. We again have a strike through. In here though, we have a double strike through. The next few options are mutually exclusive. If you pick superscript and then try to select subscript, it switches them instead of selecting both. We can assign small caps and all caps. So all caps makes everything's capitals. We also have small caps. It makes everything a capital except smaller, with the exception of actual capitals. And these work different than the one outside, as these ones don't actually change the case of the underlying text. It's just like a font change. If you want to copy the formatting from any piece of text and apply it to other sections, put your cursor in a spot that is formatted the way you want. Click the Format Painter and then highlight the text that you want to match. If you have more than one spot that you want to match, you can double click on the Format Painter, go to different places, and then when you're all finished, just hit enter and it'll go back to normal. Notice all the extra spacing caused when we use these text effects.